Hey guys, this is Amit and you are watching Tech Dad. In this video, we are going to compare between Poco X3 Pro versus Samsung Galaxy F62, and we will discuss which one is better in camera, performance, display, body of the devices, features, communication chips, and about the prices. And in the end of the video, I will tell you which one is better according to me. So watch this video till the end. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Let the comparison start with the camera of the devices. Talking about the rear camera of the devices. X3 Pro have quad camera setup, 48 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel of macro camera and 2 megapixel of depth sensor. Whereas F62 also comes with quad camera setup, 64 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 5 megapixel of macro camera and 5 megapixel of depth sensor. So the winner here is F62 because it have better camera sensor which can take great photos. And about the front camera of the devices, X3 Pro have 20 megapixel of wide camera, whereas F62 have 32 megapixel of wide camera. So the winner here is F62 because it have 32 megapixel of wide camera, which can take low noisy photos in low light conditions. Let's talk about the camera features of the devices. X3 Pro have dual LED flash HDR and panorama, whereas F62 have LED flash HDR and panorama. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have dual LED flash. And about the video recording options in the devices, X3 Pro can shoot 4K video max at 30fps, Full HD video max at 240fps with gyro electronic image stabilization, whereas F62 can shoot 4K video max at 30fps, Full HD video max at 30fps. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can shoot in high fps and it have gyro electronic image stabilization. Moving to the performance of the devices, let's start with the operating system of the devices. X3 Pro have Android 11 support, whereas F62 also have Android 11 support. So I will call it a tie here. And about the user interface of the devices, X3 Pro have MIUI specially designed for Poco, whereas F62 have One UI. So I will call it a tie here because both of the devices have different UIs. So it's up to you which UI you like it or not, it's up to you. Let's talk about the processor of the devices. X3 Pro is powered by Snapdragon 860 based on 7nm processor, whereas F62 is powered by Exynos 9825 based on 7nm processor. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have more faster processing speed. And about the GPU of the devices, X3 Pro is packed with the Adreno 640, whereas F62 is packed with Mali's G76. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can give you more FPS in games. Let's talk about the clock speed of the devices. X3 Pro can clock at 2.96 GHz based on octa-core Creo chipset, whereas F62 can clock at 2.73 GHz based on Exynos M4 chipset. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster clock speed. And about the RAM variants in the devices, X3 Pro comes with 2 RAM variants, 6 and 8 GB of RAM variants, whereas F62 have 2 RAM variants, 6 and 8 GB. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have high speed of RAM. Let's talk about the internal storage of the devices. X3 Pro comes with 2 storage options, 128 and 256 GB, whereas F62 only have 120 GB of storage option. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster read and write speed. And about the external storage of the devices, X3 Pro have external card slot but it uses shared SIM slot, whereas F62 have dedicated card slot option. So the winner here is F62. Moving to the display features of the devices, let's start with the display size of the devices. X3 Pro have 6.67 inches of display, whereas F62 have 6.7 inches of display. So I will call it a tie here because both of the devices have approximately the same screen size. And about the screen to body ratio of the devices, X3 Pro have 84.6% of ratio, whereas F62 have 86.7%. So the winner here is F62 because it have higher ratio. Let's talk about the screen resolution of the devices. X3 Pro comes with Full HD Plus display. In the other side, F62 have Full HD Plus display too. So it's a tie here. And about the display type of the devices, X3 Pro have IPS LCD display having 120Hz of refresh rate with HDR10 support, whereas F62 have Super AMOLED display. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have 120Hz of refresh rate, which can increase your viewing experience in watching content and playing games. Moving to the body features of the devices, let's start with the thickness of the devices. X3 Pro have 9.4 mm of thickness, whereas F64 have 9.5 mm of thickness. So clearly it's a tie here because both of the devices have approximately the same thickness. Talking about the weight of the devices, X3 Pro comes with 215 grams of weight, whereas F62 have 218 grams of weight. So I will call it a tie here because both of the devices have approximately the same weight. And about the protective glass of the devices, X3 Pro have Gorilla Glass 6, whereas F62 have Gorilla Glass 3. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have newer generation of glass which is more durable than its older generation. Let's talk about the build quality of the devices. X3 Pro have glass back with plastic frame, whereas F62 have plastic back with plastic frame. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have solid build quality. And about the SIM options in the devices, both of the devices have dual nano SIM support, so it's a tie. Moving to some of the most important features of the devices. Let's start with the fingerprint scanner of the devices. X3 Pro have side mounted fingerprint scanner, whereas F62 also have side mounted fingerprint scanner. So I will call it a tie. And about the sensors in the devices, X3 Pro have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass, whereas F62 also have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass. So I will call it a tie here. Let's talk about the battery capacity of the devices. X3 Pro have 5160 mAh of battery capacity, whereas F62 have massive 7000 mAh of battery. So without a doubt, the winner here is F62 because it have massive battery capacity. Let's talk about the charging speed of the devices. X3 Pro have 33 watts of fast charging, whereas F62 have 25 watts of fast charging. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have 33 watts of fast charging, which can charge up your device faster. Let's talk about the loudspeaker of the devices. X3 Pro comes with stereo speakers, where F62 have normal speakers. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can produce immersive sound. And about the headphone jack of the devices, X3 Pro have 3.5mm of headphone jack, whereas F62 also have, so it's a tie here. Moving to the communication chips in the devices, starting with the WLAN of the devices. Both of the devices have Wi-Fi AC, dual band Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi direct and hotspot, so it's a tie. And about the Bluetooth version of the devices, both of the devices have 5th generation of Bluetooth, so again it's a tie. Let's talk about the positioning chips in the devices. X3 Pro have AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS, whereas F62 have AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS, so again it's a tie. And about the USB connectivity of the devices, X3 Pro comes with 2nd gen of Type-C connector with OTG support, whereas F62 also have 2nd gen of Type-C connector with OTG support, so again it's a tie. Moving to the price of the devices. In the international market, starting price of X3 Pro is around $220, whereas F62 is available from $300. In the Indian market, X3 Pro have starting range from 17,500 rupees, whereas F62 is available from 23,000 rupees. So the conclusion of the video is, in the camera the winner is X3 Pro, in the performance the winner is X3 Pro, in the display the winner is X3 Pro, in the body segment the winner is F62, in the features of the devices it's a tie, in the communication chips it's a tie, and about the prices the winner is X3 Pro. So the decision is totally yours, which device you like the most so far, and let me know in the comment below. What do you think, which device is better for you? So thank you guys for watching this video. If you like our content, please like our video, share this video and subscribe to our channel. Comment what's your thought in the comment below. If you're watching this video on Facebook, please like our page TechDad. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, here's my Instagram ID on the screen. This is Amit and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.